say it's one of the most attractive investment destinations for foreigners now when it comes to sub-Saharan Africa. And the reasons are not far-fetched. I mean, we do have political stability, multi-party democracy being practiced over the past 2 decades. Ghana's political risk has really gone down as a result of that. The second one is improved economic environment, where GDP growth has averaged over 6% over the past 3-4 years. 2008, the GDP went up about 7.5%. 4.7% the following year, and last year went around at 6.5%. And it is projected to go over 12% as a result of the oil finding production. Inflation has been tamed. Inflation is below 10%. It was actually about 8.58 December 2010. Now it's about 9%, and it is projected to still be below 10%.
So the macro story is attractive.
Macro story is very good. And going forward, we expect the oil production to also boost the economy, and it's attracting more investors to Ghana. But when it comes to the capital market itself, the main attraction is the fact that the market has done very well over the past few years. Last year, Ghana's market was about the second best in Africa, 32%. The year before, although it was negative, but the year, that's 2008, were one of the best all over the world. Recently, the government issued a 3-year bond, and it was highly oversubscribed, almost 100%. That tells you the kind of interest that foreigners have in Ghana, especially.
And where are they investing, though? You just mentioned the bond. Nigeria, for instance, we know that there's a lot of interest in the equity market, fixed income market. It's not as developed as you'll expect for a market like ours, but it's getting there. But where exactly are the investors putting money in Ghana?
That is where we have the biggest challenge. The equity market is small, just about 35 companies. We have one oil production company, Tullow, coming up. There are a few other corporates that will be coming up before the end of the year. Government has been issuing some bonds from time to time. We find others going to other types of businesses, real estate, construction, other kinds of businesses. But generally, there's that attraction, and I think we need to build the supply side in order to meet the demand that is coming.
Let's talk about regional integration of stock markets in the region. There has been talk about that. Can you just give us an update on what has been achieved?
Yes. Ghana, Nigeria, and BRVM have been talking about integrating our markets for some time. A technical committee was set up a few years ago to look at it, and they identified an approach. The approach is simply to integrate operationally and also do incremental harmonization of our rules and regulations. Those were the 2 main issues that we identified. So the committee went ahead to look at all the rules and regulations that can be harmonized, from listing to trading to membership, etc. The key thing that we want to do is to give market operators access to all the markets after meeting certain standards. So more or less, we'll be giving them a common passport to be able to trade in Ghana, Nigeria, and Cote d'Ivoire, and those Francophone countries. So it's more or less, you sit in Nigeria, you should be able to trade in any of these countries. You want to raise capital, you should be able to raise capital across all these countries. That is the approach. It ended up with an MOU between Ghana, Nigerian Stock Exchange, and BRVM, which is the Francophone one. We signed an MOU about a year ago. We're supposed to proceed from that. But it slowed down a little bit because some of the markets in West Africa have been going through some transformation. And we're hoping we'll pick it up again this year.
I was just going to ask you, what needs to happen to get things going? And when do we expect closure on
What needs to happen now is for the executives or the managers of the exchanges to try and convince the regulators and also the policymakers to buy into this idea of integration. Indeed, ECOWAS is in favor of it. So once the buy-in comes in, then we need to have the regulators amend certain rules or give mutual recognition to these market operators as they move across West Africa. It's not too difficult to achieve that, but we need to do a lot of work in terms of convincing the regulators to accept this approach.
And expect that this might be done this year?
We hope so, especially between Ghana and Nigeria. We should be able to move ahead BRVM has suspended trading because of what's happening in Cote d'Ivoire. Nigeria is almost completing its transformation process. Once that is done, Ghana and Nigeria should be talking and maybe start integration from there.
But you just mentioned what's happening in Ivory Coast. How does that slow things down? Can you still go ahead to have that structure in place for Ghana and Nigeria pending when things are sorted out in Cote d'Ivoire?
Yes, we can do that. Because between Ghana and Nigeria, we have very common rules. Indeed, Ghana learned a lot from Nigeria when we were setting up. Our market is just 20 years old, yours is about 50. So you have many common rules, which makes it very easy to integrate.